It does not necessarily mean it's absolute to begin with, Mr. Speaker and members of this most August House. Nevertheless, we'll try to argue against those harms and try to protect, not undermining certain gender roles, especially when you present it on secondary and primary schools at the end of the day. We think, Madam Speaker, they already agreed that schools are the formative ways for us to form individuals to readily and go for society and meet demands of the society. That's why I necessarily believe, coming from the first rebuttal, coming from opening opposition, is that the school should necessarily prove to give to us what's the values that are true towards the society. Common values such as men should wear this, women should do this, and things like that. Those are the things that society generally accept, and those are the things that should be presented in schools because they necessarily need to form individuals this way. Because we think, Madam Speaker, there are certain harms when you do not form them this way. And in that, and as well, Madam Speaker, we think and we believe that by this we have we give the ability of individuals to weigh whether or not values should be like this. And we think, Madam Speaker, it's healthy for them.
Sir.
Before I go on, yes.
Sir, when the boy grows up and he's allowed to cross-dress and you say there's nothing wrong with it, how exactly then is that wrong when he's still a boy?
We think, Madam Speaker, it depends on how the guy or how individuals weigh values during their formative years. That's why we give them the opportunity to be formed in different kinds of ways that the society necessarily want them to be. At the end of the day, Madam Speaker, when they do not necessarily want the kind of formation that the schools and the society wants them to be, we give them the opportunity to have a clear grasp whether or not they're gay, whether or not they're bi, and things like that, Madam Speaker and members of this most August House. At least this school is neutral towards what the society necessarily wants them to be, Mr. Speaker and members of this most August House. There are certain harms when the school does not give these kinds of opportunity, and I'll give that on my arguments later. Clash of opposition is simple. We want schools to be neutral necessarily because we want the school to still survive towards with respect to the demands of the society, Madam Speaker and members of this most August House. We need also to clarify that opposition is not against different kinds of gender. Does not necessarily go against certain gender formation, gender ideologies and things like that. We just protect what the ideologies that are common in the society. That is what are the roles of women should be and what are the roles of men should be. Sit. Coming from me, I'll argue number one, by undermining gender roles comes with certain tangible harms. Sit. I'll discuss first the characteristics of schools and what really happens there are the necessary goals of schools. Schools, according to opening government, is also formation stage where individuals are formed, Madam Speaker, to meet certain demands of the society, whether or not they should be professionals, for instance, CPA and things like that. That's why we necessarily need the school to be neutral in values, Madam Speaker and members of this most August House. Sit. There are ways that the school has, Madam Speaker, that they apply for them to be able to form individuals to be ready towards society. That is presenting and teaching students with different subjects that are burden for them, such as mathematics, such as English, such as physics, such as advanced physics, for instance, Madam Speaker and members of this most August House. But more importantly, the school gives them the opportunity to interact with each other. And that interaction is necessarily needed by us because we necessarily see gender roles that are being catered to individuals in schools. Last.
Sir, how exactly is it neutral when the state deliberately tells you that if you're a boy, you can only date a girl during your prom?
It is neutral with respect to towards what the society necessarily are common, towards what are the values necessarily common in the society, such as the society are welcoming, such as females dating men dating women. Those are their values that are common in the society, and we think that's something neutral towards the school, Madam Speaker and members of this most August House. We do not care what happens beyond the fences of Ateneo de Zamboanga University, as long as We are trying to give them what the society wants them to be, Madam Speaker, and members of this most August House. At least we're trying to promote what the society and trying to form people to be able to be ready, to be able to face different kinds of demands of the society, Madam Speaker, and members of this most August House. But on my previously, I've discussed to you the very importance of school. They give the ability of individuals to interact with each other, and that interaction between individuals caters different specific gender roles, Madam Speaker, and that's where we appreciate every individual. We appreciate females, Madam Speaker, by doing this and that, by giving us and showing us what they are really capable of, Madam Speaker. A holistic formation for us, Madam Speaker, and members of this most August House. Even if they label us as discriminative as they want us to be, we do not care. We do not care if we are discriminative towards gays, we are discriminative towards bis. Because as much as possible, we want the schools to form individuals, Madam Speaker, as holistic as possible. Thank you.